Alright, so it turns out that unfortunately I'm gonna have to ground down, or file down this little corner of the landing gear because this the brake is hitting it, so it's not able to move as much as it needs to because I fitted the wheel on there and it just gets too tight before the wheel is actually tight on the axle. So that needs more movement, and I don't think I can rotate it at all. I think that's the best spot for it where it is. So I'm just going to need to grind down this a little bit, like take off a little chunk right there. That's a bummer, but, well, yeah, it's a bummer, but, yeah, so, yeah. Alrighty, so, I put it on there, and then, ooh, it's really bright. I put it on there, I put the brake assembly wheel on there, tested it, didn't fit. Trying to do it, and then Dad came out here and actually showed me how to use this thing because I didn't realize this was a side grinder as well. I thought it was just on the end, so that helped a lot, like using that flat surface of the grinder. So now basically I just have a nice straight angle pretty much coming off of there to make room. So I know it's getting kind of close to that bolt hole, but that's the way it goes because that's what I had to do in order to get this thing on here, such that when these bolts are in here, I mean when this thing is bolted on, there is clearance there, and there's enough clearance to actually take the whole thing off. Because that's something else that I had just thought of once I, as I was doing this, it just occurred to me that, oh, if I want to be able to take the brakes off, pretty much ever, if I want to be able to take the brakes off without having to take the entire the wheel, and I guess in this case the axle, it would be the axle, unless I could, anyway, basically to make it easy to just take the brakes off, this needs to be able to come all the way off here and just slide off like that and have clearance. And I'm using a cobalt brushless drill battery powered 24 volt grinder here, and it's not really made for aluminum, so it's gonna probably get clogged up and stuff, and it's making a mess, you can see here, but it's worth the price of that one thing there, because I got to do it on this side and the other side. So I'm tired, but now I'm just gonna finish it off with hand files, smooth it out, and then I will attach this and finally get this wheel on here. Yay! The original size of the landing gear is right about 70 millimeters across. So from here to here. It's also 2 3/4 inch, basically. So then you can see on this side, I've ground this down right here. So now what we've got is, let's see, well, so this is what it was. I mean, obviously you can see it's right about there where the angle starts. But as far as where the angle ends, just to give you an idea, 62, 61 millimeters, thereabouts. So I guess what you could do is measure 61 millimeters from this end, and then figure out where that is, make a mark. That's probably what I'll do, actually, and then draw a little angle, like from up here, probably about 15 millimeters up from this. So that's what I'm going to do on that side over there. I'm gonna do a little test fit here. Brake assembly for some reason is a lot stiffer. I mean, this part with the piston, the puck there. So anyway, let's put this on here and test it. There we go. So it's up against there. So we should have. It's actually, we're really close now. So I'm glad we checked that. Yeah, I'm going to take off just a hair more, a little bit more right there, and then finish it off with file. So turns out that this line right here really isn't, we really didn't need to take off this much, but at least I had that there as a reference, which is good. Sweet! See, so that only took like, I don't know, I don't even know, maybe 20 minutes now that I know what I'm doing. Oh man. So hopefully now it will take you a lot less time than it did me when I did the first one, which was like a long time. Okay, trying to figure out why these rods are not going in smoothly. I put some lube on them, I put some grease on them, and they're still not going in well. They're very tight. They seem like they're off center or something. So, gosh. Let's see here. But then I noticed there's a little piece of metal sticking out of there, and I'm thinking that might be causing it to go to one side. So I'm going to get a what is this? This is a 3/16 hex drive, 7/16 inch wrench, and I will loosen this. There we go. So yeah, we got a little piece of metal in there that was sitting under this little guide rod. So it's not good, but it's out now. So we'll tighten this back up. Yeah, it's nice and tight. Okay, let's see if this fits any better. Not really. Anyway, so we'll just snug that down. Maybe it'll line itself back up. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I guess if it seems like these are tight and something is off and it's not wanting to slide, just put both of them in there and then loosen the bolt and the nut here so that this little guide rod has some play, and then you can kind of line up, and they'll kind of align themselves when they're in there. So beautiful. I like it. I was really worried there for a second that there was something wrong, like something bent. There's so much stuff everywhere. Really gotta, let's go over to the. So here you see we have the landing gear right here, 4 bolts, AN4-15 alpha, and then the MATCO assembly actually comes with 2 bolts on there. I'm not sure why, although it is nice because I'd have to disassemble everything to get the bolts on there, so that's nice, I'm not complaining. So really we only need to find 2 4-15 alpha bolts. I believe they're in the finishing kit here. So we've got 4-15, and there's going to be 8 of those ones, 4-15. Gonna have to dig around a little bit. those are the long ones. These are the short ones. Yeah. So we really just need 2 of these. Put those back in there. Back in the bolt. There you go. Get some nuts and washers. We need. For some reason, the MATCO thing came with the bolts, but it did not come with the nuts or the washers. Okay, so I got this on. This one was a bit tighter. I had to really make sure all the bolts were going in at the same time and just really jiggle it one little bit at a time. And then I actually had this bottom bolt here. I actually had to kind of thread it just a little bit to get it past the very end. So it's on there kind of tight, more so than the other one. So now we'll just put the nuts and washers on here. Okay, I'm gonna get my 3/16 inch wrench, or 7/16 inch, and just snug these down. Cool. Boom. And go ahead and add my torque seal. According to the manual, we want to tighten this nut so that the rubber seal on the bearing does not turn. So it's still turning. Still turning a little bit. Let's make sure get that grease moved around in there. Yeah, there we go. It's barely turning now. Tighten that a little bit more so that it lines up with a hole. Yeah, we're right about there. Right there. So now the rubber seal is not moving. And then we'll get our cotter pin. We'll just get our cotter pin and put that in there. Oh, that's annoying. Well, this is an awkward angle. There we go. Have to bend it a little bit to get it in there. There we go. I'll try and get this one in there sideways. Alright, there we go. Let's put the bolt in here. Ooh, side's right out. I'm just getting that threaded on there so that I can just rotate it in place, and it's a lot easier. A lot easier to get it on there. Alright, now we'll put the other one through. Get our torque wrench. So let me check that one again. Yeah, good. Excellent. There we go. So you see this thing rides, the side with the puck just rides on these guide rods here, and then so what it actually, it's interesting because it pushes against this brake disc, which in turn actually pulls this disc, or this pad, I mean, onto this side of the disc. So it's very interesting. And then of course it's free floating so that it can allow the wheels to just roll and stay out of the way. And that's another reason why we need to have space here. Alright, we just mounted this thing.